welcome to our weekly craft, a source for ideas, inspiration, and fun for crafters. I'm Sarah White, Chief Maker at ourdailycraft.com, and today I want to talk about creative project scheduling management, what to do when you have too many things going on, whether they're creative projects or not. Mine happen to all be creative projects right now, which is awesome. Been feeling like overwhelmed by all the things, and so I have some advice for myself that maybe you need to hear too. Anyway, the camera's in a little bit of a different place today. I don't really know why, but here we are. You can see a little bit of my yarn stash, which is fun. Em is wearing my hitchhiker today. I can't remember the designer's name, but that's a classic of recent knitting times, and it's really fun to knit. I may have done that one on a vacation, I'm not sure, but I love the self-striping. It's a Knit Picks yarn that may not exist anymore, but it was a self-striping yarn of theirs. And I really like the colors. It reminds me of the beach, so if I didn't knit it on the beach, I was thinking about the beach while I was doing it, and it reminds me of the beach and warm summer days that are not when you would wear that, because I think it's wool, but anyway, I like it. It's fun. This is the May by Andrea Maury. I think it's my last on the tour of Drea knits. I've knit like 4 or 5 of her patterns, but this one I like because I was running out of yarn, and so I did the neckline and the sleeves and the sleeve cuffs in a contrasting yarn, and I really like the way it turned out. And it's comfy and slouchy and nice, and I just like it, and it's a good thing. The project that I'm working on right here is a test knit. The original was a rainbow stripe, and I didn't feel like I had enough yarn to do a full rainbow stripe, so I started with gray, and then I'm doing this yellow to break up the stripes of color. And you can see I just finished this yellow stripe, so it's a little weird because it's yellow with yellow and yellow some more. I have been waffling a lot on whether I like this or not. Seeing it on camera, I actually kind of like it better than I like it in person, which is weird, but here we are. This has been fun because it's very stash busty. The yellow is a yarn that I bought a long time ago, that I'm sure I had a project in mind for, but I don't remember what it was. It's been so long. And then all of the extras are, leftovers from other projects or just random balls of yarn that I had. So it's kind of fun to be able to incorporate all these different old oddballs into a project, and to have something that's like really cheerful and kind of outside of my comfort zone, because as I told the designer, I've never used yellow as a neutral before. Like that's the thing, breaking up the other colors is a little weird and foreign and uncomfortable. And that's why I keep going back and forth on whether I like it or not. But I'm going to proceed and trust the process, and hopefully in the end there'll be a sweater that I like. So this is just one of many projects that I'm working on right now. I knew at the time that I was doing it that I was taking on too much in March, but I did it anyway because it was all stuff that I wanted or felt like I needed to say yes to. I'll get to, a good kind of needed to say yes to, but so I have 2 test knits that I'm working on, and they're both probably in about the same state of done, probably, maybe 30 to 40% of done. And I'm still trying. I say that I'm still trying to do 100-day project crochet, but it's really like 1 or 2 days a week. It's not every day anymore, because that's the thing that was easy to say. I just don't really have time for this right now, and that needs to be okay. And I'm going to keep working on projects. Well, I can, but it's just not, I'm not going to stress myself out more trying to do that every day when I've got all these other things that I need to be doing instead. And so I ripped out the sweater that I was working on again because I think I get what was wrong with the pattern, and I get what was wrong with how I tried to to do it instead, because I was trying to knit it in the round, and you can't do that. It needed to be back and forth in rounds, so it was in the round, but you have to turn. And I tried to skip that part because I thought that it would work out, and it didn't. And now I understand that, that like crochet, like knitting, is a spiral, and when you do it in the round, weird things can happen sometimes, and that's fine. So I picked another project that I wanted to try, and it's a turtleneck. Easy. I think it had easy in the title, which helps. That's what I needed. So I've crocheted. My brain defaults to knit. I have crocheted the turtleneck part, and I need to sew it together because it's worked flat, and then you sew up the side and then pick up the stitches for the sweater from the edge of the turtleneck. And I just haven't gotten to that yet, so it's still working, but it's not a daily thing anymore. I am working on a secret book project that is due on April 1st, and I'm behind. I haven't really worked on it for a few days, and I feel a little antsy about that. I am doing a couple of embroidery classes, video classes, for a Rebecca Page summit that is happening soon, which I can tell you more about as it gets closer. And I have one of them completely done, and one of them I just started today, and they're due on next Monday. So I've got a lot of that needs to be done. The talking of needing to do things rather than wanting to do things is that I had to write a eulogy this week for a memorial service of a former boss of mine who I wrote a blog post about that I'll link in the show notes, because we weren't really like boss-employee, was not our relationship. So that was the thing that I wasn't really excited about doing, because that's really hard and stuff. But I'm glad that I did it, and that I'm going to be able to speak at the memorial, which is Saturday. So I think those are the major things, besides, my regular work, doing QA for influencer marketing and writing for Craft Gossip, and maybe doing my own blog sometimes in this vlog, and all the things. So I've been feeling a little overwhelmed by all of that stuff. I mean, it's all good stuff, and I'm excited to be doing it, and I'm happy to be busy in this way. But at the same time, it's just like, how logistically am I going to get all this stuff done when it needs to be done? Oh, also earlier this month I had a couple book reviews I needed to do. So there are some projects that I've already gotten off my plate, but there was just like a whole lot in March. And so, whether it's a lot of creative projects or a lot of work projects or home things or all of it together, there are times, I think, in all of our lives, and we're just like, how did I get here, and how am I going to get out of here? And sometimes it's just letting things slide. You do not want to see the state of my office or my house probably right now. But I'm and I'm trying to still do things and keep up with laundry and that kind of stuff. And my husband cleans the kitchen pretty regularly, so that is super helpful. But if they aren't things that can be let go of or postponed or rescheduled or whatever, you've just got to deal with what you've got on your plate and figure out how to do it all without losing your mind. So I have, developed through the years of like having big projects and getting overwhelmed with, because I've had a lot of jobs consistently for a long time. And so there's always like different things that need to be done at different times, and keeping track of everything is hard sometimes. So I've kind of developed some things that work for me that hopefully will work for you too. And that's videos just sort of to remind myself that I need to do those things, right? So I like to start when I'm feeling really crazy with a giant list, and just to try to think of everything that I need to do. And if there are steps that are obvious, then I might break down a project into a few steps. So like when I was starting at the beginning of the month, I did so the book project was one of those things. And so I knew that in addition to like actually writing the book, I needed to do an author bio, and I needed to do a certain amount of the book and send in a sample for approval before I finished the rest of it. So I wrote down, write a book, and then I put those things under it, because they were related, but I knew that they were separate, line items for crossing off of the list, and they needed to be done at different times. So, as granular as you want to get in things, and sometimes it's not possible because it's just like, do your job for that day, or, keep up with, I post so many times a week on Craft Gossip. And so it's just, it would be the same every week of like, write this number of posts. And that doesn't really help me because I know in my mind what I need to do. And, with my other jobs, it's different things every day. And just writing down that doesn't really help, because I know that that's going to take the time that it takes, and it's not predictable. But for other projects, I can sort of try to map out if there are components to the project that are separate, then I'll try to list them out separately. But then from the big list, it's helpful to try to prioritize, or which may be by deadline. So like, I know the book is due April 1st. I know that, I have a test note that's finished that's due April 2nd, I think, but I haven't like written up my notes yet. So that's a thing that I know I need to do by a certain time. These other test notes have deadlines associated with them. So I know that I need to finish the projects before then. A memorial service happens on a particular day, so I need to write that before then. Things like that, may help shape what your day-to-day to-do list is going to look like, based on what needs to get done first. Sometimes if you don't have distinct deadlines for things, it's helpful, and especially with creative projects too. So if you've got like 5 or 6 works in progress and you don't know, like you're overwhelmed by having too many things and you don't know what to do, sometimes it's easiest to start with the one that's closest to being done. Or you can cycle through and do like, I'm going to work on this one today, I'm going to work on this one tomorrow, I'm going to, keep going on a thing a day until one of them's done, and then, keep going until, or one of them's close enough to done that you're like, okay, now I want to stop and focus on this one for 2 or 3 days until I can finish this sleeve or whatever. So that's a way, and not just for creative projects, but that you can sort of triage when you don't have distinct deadlines, or you're just trying to get some things off your plate as fast as possible. You can do that, like what can be done the fastest, just to get something done. Because I very much believe in the power of lists and the magic of crossing things off of lists. So, if there's an easy win, take it. It's like the to-do list. If you write down something you've already done so that you can cross it off, that is a win, and so then that's the next step. Is I have these Post-it notes that are they're maybe like twice the size of regular Post-it notes. They're like yay tall. So they're maybe like 4 or 5 inches long instead of the normal size. The same width as a normal Post-it note, but that is what I've been writing my daily to-do list on, and I've been consistently doing a daily to-do list during the week, for like a week and a half now. And it used to be a daily thing, and I kind of got out of the habit of, but it's so helpful for me, like just to see the list and be like, okay, I'm gonna write this much of the book, and I'm gonna do this other thing, and I have these specific things for work that need to be done, and I'm gonna do this other project or whatever. And then again, crossing things off when they're done, or crossing things off if I made progress on them, makes me feel better to know that I accomplished something. And so that's been huge for me, to go back to doing daily lists. And it's been really rewarding to see the lists get smaller through as I've been doing them and getting some things off the list, and having smaller bits of the projects to do and things like that has been really good. And then when things are really bad, like really crazy, I will use a timer. I haven't resorted to that just yet, but so I kind of do sometimes the Pomodoro Technique, which is 25 minutes on and 5 minutes with a 5-minute break. Usually I just do more like 30 minutes, or I will take a look at my list and I will estimate how long I think each thing will take, and then I'll set a timer for that. So like if I have to write an email and I think it'll take 10 minutes, then I'll set a timer for 10 minutes and I'll race myself. That's better for like low impact things that you don't need a lot of focused thinking time for. But it might be I need to write a blog post and I think that I can do the writing in 30 minutes, and so I'll set a timer for 30 minutes and race myself. That doesn't mean that I like hit publish at when the timer goes off, but it means that at least I have 30 minutes worth of work done, and then I can come back later as another line item and edit and do the photos and all that stuff. And so again, it's like you're not necessarily going to finish the project in that time, but you're going to make as much progress as you can in that time. And that's a thing that you can do for creative projects as well. Like if you have an hour that you're going to knit in, maybe you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take 30 minutes and work on this project and 30 minutes to work on that project, so that you can make progress on a couple of different things in your day. Another thing specifically for like knitting, crochet, cross stitch, sewing, if you have multiple projects on the go and you're trying to just get some of them finished, is to designate a project for a particular area in your house. Like sometimes I have a knitting project in my office. Right now I'm doing a lot of embroidery in my office because that's where I film my videos, and so I'm working on the projects up there too. But sometimes I'll have a knitting project, and then that is like when I need a break from the computer, I can knit for a few minutes and not scroll Facebook or Instagram or something instead. And so it feels like a double good because I'm making progress on my project and I'm staying off social media, right? Because then you get sucked in, and it's a lot longer of a break than it would be if you just sat and knit a couple rounds and then got back to your work. If you're in the car line a lot, or you have a lot of appointments and you're sitting in waiting rooms, it might be helpful to have a travel project that stays in your car, so you can pick it up and do a few rows when you're in the pickup line or waiting for something, or at your kids' practice or whatever. I don't have so much of that right now, but there have been times when I have kept a project in a bag, and I would, when we would go to the park or something, I would have something, and that helps to get things finished too. Or you can do like, I'm going to work on one project during the day and I'm going to work on one project in the evening, or like I'll have one project. I often do this on the weekends because I just do a lot of crafting on the weekends. I try not to do a lot of work, and so I'm just knitting and reading a lot, or crocheting or whatever. And so like I might say, I'm going to work on this project before lunch, I'm going to work on this project between lunch and dinner, I'm going to work on this project after dinner, or I'm going to work on this project after the kid goes to bed or whatever, so that there's progress being made on a lot of things. And then you might feel like a better sense of accomplishment from getting a little bit on a lot of things done. Or if you're a person who just needs to plow through, again, it's like picking the one that you can make the most progress on, or the one that you're the closest to finishing, and then you can be like, oh well, I just did a whole bunch of work on these couple of days, and that makes me feel better because now it's almost done, or whatever. So I don't know if all of these methods, the list making has really helped, and it does make me feel a sense of accomplishment and knowing that I'm making progress on things. Both finding the list getting smaller and just being able to cross things off every day because I know that I'm making progress is gratifying. And you know, I will have a lot of fun projects to share with you really soon when these things are done. I would love to know what you have been working on, and if you're feeling like the overwhelm, or when you do get really busy in work and life and creating stuff, how you manage that. Are you a list maker and a timer user like I am, or do you have some other method? I would love to hear about it, because I know we could probably all use all the help we can get in these times. You know, it's so hard to be productive when the world is burning and all the stuff is happening that's out of our control, but you still kind of get that feeling from consuming news and things. You just get the heaviness of stuff, and it makes it harder to focus and get things done that you really want and need to get done. So if you are having success in any areas with things, getting things done, I would love to hear about that, and what you're making, what you're reading and watching. We're running a little long here, so I won't go too deep into that this week again, but love to hear how you're doing and what you're up to, and I hope that you have a crafty week, and I will see you again soon.